What's up, Rockstars, and welcome to my preview of Odyssey by the Red Joker. This is a game that's on Kickstarter right now. There's a link down below, so if you're interested at all or you just want more information, I'm sure there's tons more there for you. So feel free to click that link either now or later, or I guess whenever you feel like it. I'm going to tell you quickly how this game plays and then talk about my opinion on it, what I experienced, and kind of just everything about the game. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, as always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that I'm able to bring this independent coverage. That's because, unlike a lot of other channels, I do not receive any money from any game development company so that I can give you my honest opinion and not my wallet's opinion. If you appreciate that level of critique and honesty that provides and that freedom that provides for me to be able to show what I want to show and say what I want to say, and you can support, there is a link down below in the description to both of those as well, and I thank you greatly for it. But if not, that's fine. I totally get it. I understand. A simple like, a comment saying this video was helpful or insightful helps a ton, and I greatly appreciate it as well. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and actually just dive into this. Now, I'm not here to teach you how to play the game. That wouldn't be a totally dedicated video, at least one, probably several. This is a big game, as you can tell. And so I'm just going to give you a basic overview. And then, of course, as I talk about mechanics, you'll learn more about it. So I'm not going to go in depth about how to hack or how to fight or anything like that, because I'm going to be talking about hacking. I'm going to be talking about combat. And so when I talk about that, obviously, I'll kind of talk about how it plays. And so you'll get a lot of it. I just want to kind of a general overview here. Additionally, there are timestamps down below. Feel free to use those as you wish to kind of, see what's going on. And then, of course, at the end of the video, there is a pro and con list as well, and some notes, and I'll timestamp that too, so you can go there. All right, now, how does this game play? Well, it plays by you essentially living in the cyber fantasy world. The lore of the story is essentially like there's like these bubbles of civilization in this wasteland, but they're like super ultra like materialistic and run by corporations and all that kind of stuff. So it's like this is a city and you don't really go outside of it per se, and instead you have these districts. Now, this is a limited view of the game. For instance, there are 5 districts in the main game, and not 2. I only have 2. So that kind of goes with everything. This is a prototype, but this is one of the prototypes where this is not a complete game. It is a work in progress. A lot of the rules, there was small sections of rules that were still in French, okay? This is a prototype. This is not a full game that just isn't manufactured up to a prototype. They are still working on things. A lot of these cards are blank, okay? So just FYI, going into this, I did not play a full game, though I played every single system in the game, and I actually kept going just to try and get more game time in. So I've played this as much as I possibly can, but just FYI, as I go through everything, work in progress and prototype on top of that. Okay, so anyway, suffice it to say, you have 1 to 3 agents, and you assign your agents to do different things. You can either go onto the map, onto a green item to do different things. You can go into the orange ones to interact with things. For instance, you can dig through the archives or do anything like that. Your ultimate goal is to essentially solve crimes or crimes that are going out around there. You're working for an organization. You are the organization. You've hired some agents to go do that so that you can kind of gain control of the city. You have these investigation cards. This is the ultimate goal to get is 8 of these. I had 2 of them available. To do that, you get clues, and you get clues by stuff like digging in the archives, or going, there's a chase, and you have to go chase somebody down. If you catch them, then you get that. Or you can go into a kind of a point of interest and do some combat there, and maybe fight some, gang members or something like that, and gain clues there. Or perhaps you just get them through witnessing like a riot and going there and checking that out, or investigating in some other way. There's all these events that you're going to be resolving. A news anchor AI chick lady will like talk about what's going on here. The cyber delinquent was released. This is an escort mission, so they're going to pick them up at the police station. You got to deliver them over to the next place over, and if you do that, then you get certain rewards. Or there might be a new med tech clinic that's discovered, or a cyber discovery, and you can go there and do these different things. And each one kind of has its own flavor depending on, that's Independence Plaza. Here's the Fargo Junction. Here you might have a Merrill campaign speech where he talks about adding an AI to things, or an anti-weapon protest, or an android attack, or androids are attacking. And so you can go to the androids and you can fight them. Then if you do, then certain things happen. You gain some clues. They'll add these clue tokens there. And the clue tokens you take at random, and then you can put in your clue folder. There's a 3, a 4, and a 5. Once you complete that, you get that many investigation points. You get a bonus if they're the same color. You get a bonus if they're the same logo. And you get an extra bonus if they're the same color and logo. So if you got a whole bunch of red DNA, well, then obviously that's going to be worth more than some clothing that was left behind, and some DNA here, and just like a wild clue token there, because they have some that are like jokers or wilds that you can do as well. So as you go through that, everything is pretty much driven by an initiative track. So you'll have initiatives, 2, 17, 15, and then different actions that you can do as well if you don't have 3 people there. If you're going through here, you have the tactical card, which again has an initiative. So same kind of idea there. The only, I think, part of this game that doesn't have an initiative is the hacking cards. And I'll explain that in a little bit, because it's actually one of the points I want to make. But suffice it to say, you have 12 days to do that, and whoever has the most points or the most investigation cards, if you get 8 investigation cards, it just ends. Otherwise, you keep going, and you can buy gear for your guys, you can buy vehicles, you can recruit more people, you can get some more support, you can add other software. There's a ton of stuff to do. I'll talk more about that as well too, but suffice to say, that's pretty much how it is. You can go on your job, and that's how you mostly gain money. So you can actually gain more money that you then spend on that. So each person has a job that they can do, and then certain skills. So like she is social and finances, whereas he's espionage and combat, whereas she is hacking and espionage, or driving and combat, or whatever. And those allow you to do different things. So if you want to go on a car chase, well, you better have somebody that can drive, and you might want to augment their eyes where they can like drive better, or whatever the junk it might be. And all of that's, down here, and there's more stuff that you can do. And as you travel, you get trip cards, and you have to kind of do that. It's easy to think that it's a lot of skill checks, but it's really not, mainly because each thing has its own mechanic to it. It's not just like a roll or a check your thing. I can spend XP to do that in my software. I can tap that and add to that, or I can discard it to do this, and my support thing adds to here. And then because I've been doing this over here, it does that. And then my character has this equipped here. And so there's a lot more to it, and you're always able to do some action kind of on it. It's not just a simple yes or no, pass, fail. That's really it. The combat is a little bit different, where you're actually moving through areas and attacking people with these combat cards and defending, and then it's a point-based thing there, and I'll talk about that in a little bit too. But that's really high level what this game is. It's you for 12 days, or until you get to 8, just trying to investigate and solve these clues. The ultimate goal is these clues. That is the focus. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Let's go ahead and dive into the actual review. So, I know I do detailed and long reviews, even on prototypes like this. And so with that, I guess I want to start with the most important point. And the most important point of this whole game is Pokemon. That's right. Pokemon is the main draw of this game. For me, it is huge. I was amazed by how exciting it was to get people on my team. Let me kind of explain that. So you have a selection of 3 at any given time. When you go to recruit them, you can recruit them at any of the recruit points. So there's one here, there's one here. So, you could even do a 2 recruit, you can do whatever. When you go to recruit, you get one of these for free. Essentially, you go and you're working for me now, and you might pick this person. But it's not just this person, it's a front and back. So each person has a front and back, and you have to make a choice on there. And it can be kind of hard, right? I mean, so on this one, it's really just a health difference and a driving skill difference. But some of them, it's like, well, you could get more money, or you could not get more money, or it's kind of tough. So like here, he gets more money on his private investigator, but he loses the combat. It's kind of a toss-up on necessarily what you want. Each of them have a special skill as well. And again, you can get up to 3 of these. And these highly, highly change how you play the game. If you get a driving person, you're going to be doing car chases. If you don't have a driving person, you're going to be taking the taxi and you ain't doing no chases. So it just kind of depends on how you go about it. If you have a bunch of combat people, that's what you're doing. If you have social people and investigative people, then you're out there doing events and doing that kind of stuff instead of over here fighting. Or maybe you have a mix. You can bring people in that don't have combat, but then they're less good at combat. There's a lot of different options here between the health, between the two skills, or the two abilities, between the skills and between the job and how much money they make at the job. There's a lot to talk about. And then on top of that, you can hire these support characters, and these support characters are awesome. They are huge. These are some of the most fun cards to get. Now, they can be kind of pricey, 500, 1,000, maybe as low as 200, just kind of depends. They do two different things. They give you a little ability that could be anything. I'll read some of those. And then they also allow you to essentially bring NPCs with you in combat. So let's say you only have one fighter dude. You know what? That's okay. Focus on the other stuff. And when he goes in, as long as you got some support, you can discard that. You can bring some kind of mercenary heavy lifting in there. And they're actually quite good too. Like they're really good. And so you bring those in and then you stomp, the gang, meetup that you're kind of stomping or whatever it might be, the corrupt warehouse, or it doesn't matter. The point is that, you're in there taking names because you brought these. These are huge. So I could get Lynn Parker, who's a field reporter, okay? And she has a discard ability. In other words, I have to get rid of this card when I activate an agent. So any agent, I can do this. It says place one agent in an already occupied location and perform this location's action. That can be huge. For instance, let's say you have one person, just one person. And maybe somebody went over here to hire that, get an agent, and you really want a second agent right away, so you can start having somebody go to their job and shop and do all that kind of stuff while another person does events or however you want to split it out. But no, you can't because it's blocked. Well, with her now, it's suddenly not blocked. You can do that. You can always do what you want to do, essentially, which is huge. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to. You could take a taxi or drive over here, but that takes your turn, and the next turn you might be able to get that, or maybe you're blocked again. A lot of this, because there are finite amount of spaces, that's all there is to it. And so you can get blocked when you want to do something. If you want to go buy clothing and somebody already is, well, now you can too. Huge card. Very good. Or you could not do that and get draw two of the people and see who you get. And again, that's huge. But if you really want the combat, you probably want to get the Duke, who's a gang leader. He allows you to draw 3, and his ability is a permanent, so you get to keep it. And it says, and when you're doing tactical combat, you draw 2 additional combat cards at the beginning of the combat. So you're starting out hugely strong. The more combat cards you have, trust me, the better. Each of them have a attack and a defense, and they buff your attacks, and they can go up to like 7. So you can get up to 7 defense or up to 7 attack. It's the more you have, the better, especially because you draw 3 at the beginning, but afterwards you only draw 1 each turn, though it only lasts for a maximum of 3 turns. So that's really huge. Or maybe you're just focused on the clues. You get the coroner here, Sori Atsukuna. She can also give you 3, which again is huge. Or the permanent is you add 1 additional clue token. Every time you're getting a clue token, you're getting 1 additional. And there are tons of these, and they're all different, and you can get all kinds of different ones. You can get Celestine Carter, the nightclub owner, who allows you to pay 100 less for any gun or equipment that you buy. So if you're buying weapons, if you're buying equipment, you're paying less for it. That's forever. And she's cheap too. Or maybe you get the Barbara Goth, the digital artist. She allows you to draw a hacking action, or discard a software card and draw a new one. So if you draw badly, or if you have one that you don't want, well, you can do that and get a new one. There are a huge stack of these. They're all awesome. Combining that with your agents gives you a totally unique kind of team. I'm really big on like deck building or army building or anything like that, and this allows you to do it. And some of these characters are great. So like you have Elsa here, who only gets $100 as a game member. She's not a good game member, right? So you do not want to get her. If you're wanting to go to a job, don't get her. However, she has 4 with the combat and driving, and at the beginning of my turn, I draw a support card. That's right. You know my turn? I just draw one of these. I could get $1,000 one on that. She only gets 100, but I might draw 1,000. Huge. Huge. That's super beneficial. Maybe you don't want to send her in combat then, because then maybe she might die. You don't know. Like, it could get bad. Or maybe you want to go with the the urban ghost, or Curcio Ibiko, or Nikita, or whatever it might be. Anyway, she has hacking and espionage. She's a mercenary, makes a modest 300 when she does it. However, her skill says at the beginning of your turn, place 1 token on the hacking track. So this is kind of a meta track here, right? And I'll talk a little bit about that, but essentially you get free stuff, you get XP, you get software tokens, you get support cards, you get free equipment, you get all this, you get clues, you get all that kind of stuff by doing that. Plus, you're much better at hacking. You get an extra hacking card for every token you have on there. Every turn, you're doing that. You're just adding one for free. That's awesome. You don't have to spend an action or the money to do it. That's awesome. Maybe you get the Hound here. He makes, again, Private Investigator, 300, 400, something like that. You can investigate and combat. That's a very good combination. And after resolving an investigation, you can discard 1 clue token and pick another. So if you didn't like it, that's fine. This one, probably the last one I want to tell you about. This one's really cool. The double feature vigilante. There's 2 of them. And in fact, the skill is when she is activated, put each of her miniatures on a different action space. That's right. You can do 2 actions with this person because they're twins and they work in tandem. Not just 1, 2, which means essentially you have 4 different people if you have her plus 2 more. Again, fundamentally different. And then if you do that, or maybe you're diving deep into hacking and you're just a hacking guru and you got all the hacking people and you're getting all these tokens and you're doing all these breach events, that any breach event that happens, you have a person in all these different zones and a driver that can get them there, whatever it might be. The collection and customization of them is huge. I know I spent a long time on that, but that's because that is the biggest point for me. That is definitely the best part of the game, as far as I'm concerned. Loved it. I loved reading all of them and figure out which one each one does. And then you get one, you're like, okay, do I do this or do I do that? I could get $100 more if I did this each time. But then her espionage goes down. But I don't really care about the espionage. It's only really useful in events or if I'm going in combat where maybe I'm a little bit more defensive. But other than that, maybe I just want the money instead. But then, it's a dead weight in combat or, whatever it might be. The decision process is huge and it can be a real big toss-up. And then it's like, where do I spend my money, right? Because you can buy the software here and you want that, but they're expensive. But then so is all this stuff. But if you want to go in combat, you definitely want a weapon. So you want to spend the money on the weapon. But then the nightclub owner can help you get it cheaper. So maybe you get her first and then get that. But then you're waiting longer. And as you wait longer, the combat gets harder. So it's a huge toss-up there, and it's a lot of fun deciding what to get and planning your team and getting your team. Like, even the person right here, I have a finance person there. Earlier you get a finance person, the better, because they give you $100, $200, $300 every single turn, just right on top of it. They don't have to go to work, right? But you can combine that to their work. So she makes like $800, but she also gives me $100 a time. So she's really making $900. If I just send her to work and that's all I do is have her work, maybe socialize a little bit during an event or something like that, she's just making money. My other characters can do whatever the heck they want. Stuff like that's super, super cool. And I loved it. Definitely Pokemon. Now, I kind of mentioned this, but the amount of options you have is tremendous. Look at the spread of this game is insane, right? You can do so much in this game. So that when you get this card and you're like, okay, you know what? I want to make sure I go first. I'm going to play the 2 in my initiative. I don't even care about the other stuff here. I just want to do that. And so I do that and I'm like, okay, now I get to activate one of my 2 agents. Somebody in Independence Plaza, somebody in the Fargo Junction. There'd be some events, maybe 1 or 2 events that are going on right now because they can last more than 1 turn, but then they go away, so they don't last forever. And you're there and like, okay, so I could send her to her job and have her do her work. So maybe that's what I want her to do. Or maybe I want her to actually go and lobby because I want to keep going in the influence track because that'll help me out later as well. And if I do that, I only have to pay 100 and I get another strategy card. That'd be really nice. Or maybe I just need to go shopping because she doesn't have anything right now, and I could really upgrade her social by getting the upgraded aesthetics bio enhancement. So maybe I want to do that. So I want to go shopping and do that for her. Or maybe, you know what, there's that other event and this one that she'd be great at. It's going to last 2 turns. So if I move now, I can actually move over here. And then my next turn, I can go and actually do that. Hopefully that will resolve that. And I can get those clues so I can work on my investigation here. Or, you know what, he's going into combat and could really use the help. So putting her in combat with him, even though she doesn't do a whole lot, every single person matters. And I could put her on, she could be worth 3 points because I can put her on the strategic location at the end so that I get 3 extra points. She doesn't really have to do anything but move. Maybe that's all I need her to do. I can put her in there and do that. Maybe if she had a care kit, she'd already do that. Or I just need to recruit. I only have 2 people. So maybe I don't work and I don't go do that and I don't go do that and I don't buy that because I'm going to recruit. And so because you can only do one thing with each agent, you're stuck making a decision on, you're doing 2 things out of 15 possibilities, right? And so it's this like awesome amount of options that you feel like you never have enough time. You feel like you could need 15 agents to be able to do everything because I want to buy stuff, I need to get another car, I need to travel over here, I need to do that event, I need to do that combat before that event goes down because of that, but then there's this other event right here that I'd have to bypass to do that, and I might even have a car chase, so if I had a driver with an upgraded driver thing, then I could do that. And then I also need to get some software, so if I could shop while that's going on, that would be great as well. Plus, I'm running behind on the hacking. If I'm going to be doing hacking later on, I need to start now because this is the long-term meta, and I need to build that up, so maybe I need to do that. Good luck picking one. It's awesome that there's so many good choices. They're all good. You feel like you've lost something by skipping it. Like, I guess I'm not doing that event, but I want to do this one, so I'm just going to... That one's just gonna die, or somebody else is gonna get it. That's what's gonna happen. That's kind of the daily, or not the daily, but every single turn. That's what you're deciding is what of many actions do I want to do, and what of many actions am I choosing not to do. And that's almost just as impactful. And that being said, it sounds like a lot. It looks like a lot. This gives me a little bit of anxiety here. It's super simple. My kids can play this game. It's not that... The strategy involved, especially long-term game, on making sure you have the hacking cards or the influence cards, or making sure you have the right equipment or the right agents in the right locations to do the right things for the right events, that is what is important for sure. And that is kind of a very nuanced thing. But the actual mechanics are very simple, right? I go here and I shop, or I go here and I work, or I move over here and I draw a trip card, and the trip card has that. Well, what's my speed? Or I go into combat and it's just, okay, I play my card, you play your card. Or it's just the hacking, and it's, you drew that symbol and that effect. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have to resolve the effect and then do that symbol in return. That's the game. It's not a complex game in its mechanics at all. It seems like a lot. Like, I printed out the rulebook and it's like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff here. But it's all actually kind of the same stuff, especially because a lot of the stuff works the same way as well. And so that's really helpful. It's like, well, your investigation allows you to do something, but that one investigation is the same as the one in combat, which is the same as the one in driving, which is the same as the one in espionage. Now, there are nuances and differences, like the combat allows you to do the expert version of a weapon instead of the novice version because you know how to use your weapons. Unless it's a shotgun, everybody knows how to use a shotgun. Point and shoot, right? Literally, that's a thing. But, so you do all that, and then, of course, there's suppression tokens on that. Like, there's a lot, but it's all simple. And so I think that's actually a nice thing about that is there's not like, it's not like a game like Tainted Grail where the combat or the diplomacy is like this whole separate kind of, oh, here's this card game that has all of these mechanics around it. That's really cool and it's this neat little game, but it's completely separate from this other thing you're doing. You're not really doing, even the combat, again, you're not really doing anything a whole lot different. And so once you get it, you just kind of get it and you play it, and it works out actually pretty okay. Now, that being said, as simple as it is, and how I said my kids could do it, there is no catch-up mechanic at all. And there is a possibility of somebody just kind of taking the lead. Like, especially if you are a player who's played this many times versus a new player, you will have to go easy on them because it is so easy to get caught up on trying to work to get the money, to get the gear, to get the people, to where it could be turn day 6 and you haven't gotten a single clue. Meanwhile, you could have somebody who's played this a few times who might have a little bit of everything, but also already have their first investigation card complete. So, you need to play it at least once or twice to really kind of get a sense of, okay, this is kind of the flow that I need to follow to be able to do this. There's nothing necessarily bad about gearing up and being awesome, and then the last little, swing of things doing really good. But you're still, the problem is you are limited to 3 agents, so there's only so much you can get. So even if all the events are there and you got every single event in the last 3 turns, that's probably not enough to catch up. And there's not really a rebound thing. You can kind of get a little left behind there, and compound with that, it's definitely not beginner friendly. If you're playing with new people, then you're all in the same boat. If you've played this a few times and you're introducing it to new people, definitely go with a light touch on this one, because otherwise you will probably stomp them. It's just, like I said, it kind of clicks maybe about halfway through a game. Where you're like, okay, I think I get what's going on here. And then you feel like you're good, and then the second game you're like, oh, I'm just doing way better this time, right? It goes kind of like that, which is what it is. Now, before I move any farther along in the nitty-gritty of mechanics and stuff like that, can I just say that the art style and the art itself is amazing in this game. It is so good. This street view here, especially on the Fargo Junction, has been one of my favorite cyberpunk art pieces I have seen. I love it. I love that it's rainy. I love the neon glass bar that's there. I love the people in the helmets and the bikes and the police car with its lights on, and it just is so cool. But then you go to the Independence District and it has that giant, kind of Blade Runner-ish kind of hologram thing, and it's also kind of wet and sleek and all that, but it's also a lot more lit up and a lot more open, and less alleyways and stuff like that, and you get a really good sense of it, and you get to see it on the cards. But then you even see it on the character designs and the support stuff and the enemies you're fighting and the miniatures, which are just they're incredible. You saw it in the unboxing. They're really, really cool minis. I really like the design of it. The style of it reminds me a little bit of a Batman with kind of the circles and the lines and the stuff like that. But it's really that kind of tactical cyber kind of thing that Bruce Wayne tech has. And so it makes sense that it kind of reminds me of that. And I like it. So I think it looks cool. The design of the cars and the augments, and it just oozes that cool cyberpunk style that I really, really dig. Now, this is a early copy, so again, keep that in mind, but I did notice that it needs a little bit of streamlining, and it's not like a huge amount, but there are some completely useless activities. Like, for instance, when you drive, right? Let's say I'm going to drive from there to there. Let's say I have a vehicle. Let's go and give him a car or whatever it might be, right? Okay, so he's got his car, so he's going to go driving there. He has a driving ability, let's say, right? So what you do is you do this, and then and then you flip the car, the trip card, right, and resolve anything you might need to do, and then you do this. But why put it here? Why not just have him sit there, flip the card, and then move it? It's kind of pointless. Or when you go to your job, let's say she goes to her job. Well, then guess what? You went to your job, you get an XP token. Hey, guess what? You can spend an XP token to get $100 back. So you just then put it right back, and you get 100. The rules say you get it and then you can spend it. It should just say either get 100 or get an XP, and not get it and then spend it right away. And I found these points to be kind of pointless too. Yes, you can spin multiple people there, but it's not hard just to say, okay, those 3 people in the street are going over there, right? Because they're all in this little street area here. So if you got 3 people there and you have a van and you're moving over there, well, then resolve whatever you need to resolve and just move the 3 there. You don't need to move all 3 down here and then move all 3 back up here. So there's a little bit of that that's kind of it's just it's in a rough state. And I'm making it a point to make this review / preview beneficial, knowing that I didn't play a full game, knowing that this is a work in progress. You'll see a lot of that at the end of the video. I'll have some suggestions for the game in general, I guess, or whoever wants to listen to me. But there is a little bit of wonkiness right now, and hopefully that's resolved. If not, that's definitely going to be a negative in the review. But for now, it's just kind of it's kind of an oddity that it's get a token, spend a token, move a person. A little weird. Let's talk about the hacking game. It's quick fun. That's all there is to it. What is it? Okay, so you have whoever is the leader of the hacking, whoever has the most tokens there, they're the protector, and you are the attacker, right? And so you're attacking. And you draw cards based off of how many hacking tokens you have, and based on your hacking ability and any gear you might have, and any software changes that might do anything like that, or any support that might get from the support. There's a lot of avenues that you can get stuff, but let's say you have stuff, right? And you're going to draw, 4, right? And maybe they're going to draw 4 as well. Who knows? Why not? Okay. Now, what the protector does is they're looking at this and they have different symbols and they have different stuff like a counterattack or, whatever it might be. But let's say they're just going to play that. So they played a red token, a red symbol. So then as a hacker, you just need to match that red token. You're done. Then they play another card. If they can ever not play a card, you've won. If you ever choose not to play a card or cannot play a card, they've won. And the different benefits go to the different people. But there's a recruit action or a discard action where maybe you software discard, the hacker must discard one software card, or the hacker taps one software card which won't be able to be used, so you won't be able to, use its ability. And so there's a little bit of fun to be had. Most of that is on the protector side. The hacker really only has one ability that he can play, which is kind of a trump card, where it's like, hey, counter this, otherwise I win, period. It's a very rare hacking card, but you can get it. I was not lucky enough to get it, sadly, but I know it's there because it's in the rules. And I saw it. When I went to look for it, I'm like, drat, I didn't get it. But it plays real quick, right? It's just matching symbols, and the effects that they do aren't anything nuanced. It's very, very, quick hunt. One hacker agent flips one of their own cyber implants. So you flip a cyber implant. They will not be able to use it before they fix it. So now they will have to go fix it in the repair phase, right? So you've just fried one of their circuits. Or the protector instantly draws one software card and plays it. If the hacker cannot or will not counter it, the agent loses 1 health point. The hacking action then proceeds as normal. So it's a quick and this. And then if you can't do that, it's you lose the health. You can keep going, but now you're hurt a little bit too. Again, fried your circuits or whatever. So it plays nice and quick, and I actually enjoyed it. It's that kind of thing where there's stuff like that in this game where you're hacking, and now it's a quick little mini game between 2 players that you can do. This is a little bit more advanced, and actually that's probably my next big point here is that there's a pro and con with combat. The con is that, for me, that it's not fun. It's a puzzle. It's strategy. It's point based where, for each person you hurt, you get a point. For each person you kill, you get 3 points. For each person that is in a green slot, you get 3 points. For each person of yours that's in a red buffed zone, you get -2 points. You don't want to end it on there. And the pro of this is it's only 3 turns, hard limited 3 turns. So you do your 3 turns and you're done. And again, it's the same kind of thing where you're using software or whatever, and I attack you with +4 for mine, so a total of 7. How much defense do you have? Oh, you're in exposed cover, so you have a -2 to your defense, blah, 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 whatever. Right? And so you're doing that, and you draw these tactical cards, which essentially, I can have the initiative, but also allow you to do things like move or strike back or dodge, or there's a cool trick one where you get to move them out of a zone. So if they're in a defense thing, you can do that and move them out of that, and then attack them with your next person, stuff like that. And so and then you have these interrupts or suppression where you can block their other person's stuff or whatever. But it plays pretty quick. It's a little bit more involved. But it's at the end of the day, the most exciting part is you both reveal your combat at the same time, or your investigation your tactical card at the same time. Which is, it's okay, but it's not a skirmish game or dungeon crawl or something like that, right? This is not Oko Chronicles right here, though it kind of looks a little bit like it. I do appreciate the strategy involved in it, especially because it's a point-based system. You can go with it in that in mind. It's not just about killing everybody, it's about getting the most points. And so, again, even just, if all you're doing is moving to the green, that's worth 3 points. As long as you don't die, that's 3 points. Now, you might come out of that hurt, and maybe that matters to you, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But there's typically 3-ish or 4 clue tokens. You can have some clue tokens on there, and so sometimes it's worth it to do that. A little bit more involved in the hacking, and like I said, it's not super fun. I actually enjoyed the hacking game more. I don't know why, but the symbol match thing, I'm a sucker for those symbol match 3 games. Maybe it's that in me, I don't know. But Definitely, I appreciated that everything is quick in this game. You activate your 3 people, you're done. They activate their 3 people, they're done. I play my card and activate however many people are there, and then you activate your people, and then we do that 3 times and we're done. That's really nice. It really goes smoothly, which is good because there are other parts that aren't quite as fast. One of the issues I noticed, even with this, is the upkeep at the start of a new turn or at the end of a turn can be pretty involved. You can have a few different events, and each of these events are adding these tokens on here. And so you have all these tokens that you're kind of dealing with. And so then, now it's the next turn. So now I have to remove that, which removes this one and this one. And then this is going to stay, but then this one's going to go up, which adds one here, and then I want to do the same thing over here, and maybe it only removes one, and then this one goes, and this one goes, and then this one is, revealed, or whatever. And so each time you're reading what that does, so you read what it does, and then you do that. This is only times 2. It's times 5 in the regular game, which means you're flipping 5 different event cards. You're reading 5 different event cards. You're fulfilling where each thing needs to go for 5 different event cards. You're telling everybody where the clues are. You're gathering the clue tokens, and you're placing the clue tokens on here. And it might change up or down because maybe it only added 1, but the other one took away 3 because it's only however many are revealed. So if there were 4 now there's 3, I'm actually taking 1 away. Otherwise, I'm gaining some. Again, like times 5, right? And then, of course, then you all draw the strategy card, and you play the new strategy card. And other things might happen at the beginning, too. Maybe you can resolve a software or something like that happens at the beginning, or when your support cards happens, or whatever it might be. And so it can get kind of involved to do that. It's not exactly the quickest thing to do. And it's fine because you're reading this, and it's kind of interesting, and you do that, and you're reading this kind of to do it. Though the second time you do it, it's okay. Cyber discovery. Everybody remembers you don't even read that part anymore. So now it's just the setting up tokens. It's definitely more fun the first time when it's all new, as opposed to the guy's released. Yeah, well, I got to move him over there. Got it. Understand. So there is that too. Now, additionally, because there are so many options, while the game is simple, there's so much to do. This game can promote AP. So you can get analysis paralysis where you're just like, especially because, let's say it just started, the events happened, and so then you're just looking here like, which one do I want to do? Like, I want to play the 2 because I really want to do that, but maybe they won't do that, in which case I only have 2, so I don't want to heal, but I would love to just earn $300. So maybe I'll just play that one, but that's only 17, not 3. Everybody's doing this, by the way. They're looking at their cards, or maybe I just want to remove somebody's token from the influence track, but that's a 15. I don't know if I'll ever even, I'll guarantee do it because nobody can block me on it, but I also want to be able to go shopping and also have her work, and there's another person that could work there, and so if they don't work there, so I guess I'll do the 2. So you do the 2, and you do that, so and then you're like, okay, I know, I want to do that, and it's like, okay, now it's their turn, and then stuff happens, and then it finally gets back to your other one. It's like, okay, well, they did block that, and that's what I was going to do with him, so I could go into combat, I guess, or go shopping, and maybe I'll do that, or maybe I'll just travel over here and just leave them to this map. I don't even care, actually. And that would just be a taxi. It'd be almost all of my money, though. I'd love to go work here, and where I want to go doesn't have my work, so I have to stay here for everybody's turn, right? So it can definitely kind of, or just picking out this person, which of these 6 options, really, because it's front and back of 3, plus 3 different supports. So you're looking at 9 different options that you could choose from there on what you're doing, depending on how much money you're willing to spend on the support cards. And so it can get a bit slow, it can get a bit long in that sense. It's definitely a thinking game. And so just, you got to keep that in mind. Okay, one of the biggest things in this game, and I kind of mentioned it several times, is this influence and hacking track. This is the meta of the game. There's a lot of meta, long-term improvement, long-term upgrades that you kind of need to keep track of. It's not just hiring the person, it's getting the right equipment on there. And it's not just getting the right equipment on there, it's making sure that it matches that person. It's not just doing that, it's also making sure you have a good accompaniment of software cards and support cards. And if you want to go hacking and you haven't put any tokens in the hacking, then you've made a mistake, especially the farther you go in. At first it's +0 hacking, but eventually it gets to like +3 hacking. So the protector gets +3 cards automatically on top of the defense value. And so you better have some tokens there to counter that. If you have 3 tokens, it's as if it's a +0 because you both got +3. And so you definitely want to start investing in that. Plus, by the time you get here, you're getting, free support, cards. So again, that could be like $1,000. Who knows? Plus more software, more XP, more gear, more clues, all that kind of stuff. But if you're just doing hacking, you're not doing an influence, you better know what you're doing. And it's really to the point where by the time you get farther in the calendar, you should have tokens there. And that's involved in lobbying, or it's involved in some of the compensation actions you can do if you don't have all 3 people. But on top of that, it's getting the money and all that. So there's a lot of meta, but I really liked the tokens there. Placing the tokens there, and people who are hacking can take yours off or put theirs on or do different things there. The moment that you're not the highest one there, well, now that means you're not playing the protector. If you're not playing the protector wins clue tokens. So every time anybody hacks, if you have the most there, you're the protector, you can get clue tokens on their turn, right? That's huge. Put your tokens there. It'll be highly contested. I believe the more people play this, the more people will focus on the influence and hacking track and realize how important those are. And that'll be, it kind of reminds me of the Shinto and Rising Sun, if that makes any sense, where it's like, I can send these people off to do this stuff and it'll benefit me later on. So I'm just going to do that. And now suddenly, hey, guess what? I have so many people there. You can't even, that's what you want to have happen with hacking or influence or whatever it is you're trying to do. So really, really enjoyed the meta growth in general, but particularly that. All right, on that note, I have 3 suggestions that I want to suggest that I would love to see in the Kickstarter unlocked or discussed in some way. I would love to have a bag for these. These clue tokens are one-sided. Notice that they're showing their thing, so when you actually get the game, you have to do this. You know how fun this is? It's not. This is not enjoyable. You know what solves that? Throw them in a bag. A bag that you can reach in and just grab one out at random. There you go. Problem solved. I don't have to do that. And then do the whole, please don't tip over. Please don't flip. Crap, I saw a gun. Like you don't want that. Put them in a bag. Problem solved. I would love to see a bag for that. I don't think one was planned yet. Because I didn't hear about no bag. I didn't see no bag, but we haven't seen a whole lot. I haven't seen a whole lot as recording of this. So who knows? But a bag for the clue tokens. That'd be an awesome stretch goal if you're not having one. I actually would prefer a board for the shop just to keep it a little bit more organized. Right now it's just loose on your table and it kind of adds a little bit to my anxiety. I would prefer to kind of, and I think it'd be a little bit more thematic, right? You could have it like a shopping district or I don't know. I'm sure you could do something cool with that. I would just like it not quite so loose. And you could even include this in here too, because obviously you can shop here, you can shop here, you can shop the software, and you can shop these here. I haven't split up here because it's a big old table spread, right? But I would like a board, kind of like this with little slots, or even like this, I don't know, where I could put the different shop things so they're not quite so loose. And it's kind of finicky to like, okay, I want this one here, and then, make sure you don't hit anything, and then, okay, so now I flop that here, and then this can go right here. I now have a gas mask. Or, whatever it might be. Just think it would be an improvement. The only other thing is I would love to see more events. I talked about how, there's only so many of these, right? And you go up to 12 days. Now, that doesn't mean you always go that. Hopefully you solve your investigation cards first. But if not, you go up to the 12, but you're going to read most of those by that time. And so it'd be nice just to have a big old variety, especially when you're doing, 5 different ones kind of thing, that you still get that freshness or that newness involved. Because after a while, reading Cyber Discovery for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, 20th time isn't super cool. So the more the merrier, obviously, in that. And of course, more Pokemon. I want more Pokemon. Give me more Pokemon. I want more Pokemon. All right, and another thing I'd really like to see is an ability to refresh the stores. So one thing I've seen in other, especially preview copies of games, is there's stores like this, and let's say I rolled, let's say there were 3 cars or whatever, right, is what they ended up being. It's kind of iffy on what it is, but let's say it was 3 cars, okay? So if that means nobody gets motorcycles until people buy cars, right? If that had been 3 vans, that sucks. Or if I got nothing but cuffs in the gear, well, then people need to buy cuffs before we can see what else is there. There's no ability to refresh it without buying something. So stuff can sit there. A lot of games, like a Small World, for instance, solve that by you have to pay to pass something up, right? So in Small World, you pick your race, and the least liked race gets a ton of money on it, making it more valuable. So there's stuff like that you can do besides just a hard refresh. But even just being able to say, or maybe like there are points where the store is refreshed each time or something like that might be nice. Just something to shuffle those so that they're not just sitting there because nobody wants another tattoo. Because if you got 3 tattoos, that's all you got. Which is sometimes kind of a bummer when if nobody wants that, but they want something else in there, well, they're not going to, devote 2 or 3 actions to buy and then refresh and then buy and then refresh and then finally I can buy what I want. That's a lot of money wasted. So, ideally there's a little refresh there too. That'd be kind of nice. All right, guys, that's it for this kind of preview for Cyber Odyssey. The reason I keep saying preview is because, again, this was definitely a work in progress. But I see the vision. I see the goal. I see the Pokemon. I love the Pokemon. So give me more Pokemon and give me more. Again, the style of this is awesome. So link down below the Kickstarter if you're interested in this one. It's launched as of today of the launch of this video. So right on the money there. And I'll talk to you guys real soon about some future games as well. I've got plenty more content coming out for you this week, as well as a look at next month for Kickstarter, so be on the lookout for that as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask them in the comments below. I'll check them out. All right, thanks, guys.